poor, middle class, upper middle class, or rich? Which class do you belong to? A person's class or social economic status carries a huge amount of weight on how we view ourselves and others. But the good thing about it all is that your class or status is not static. It changes over time depending with what you do for a living. Yes, it doesn't happen often, but it still occurs. The indicators that correlate to a specific class don't necessarily place you in that category. So it is not set in stone, but it is a good measure. Say, for example, a graduate student might net $20,000 a year. So this would put them in a lower class. But you have to consider their future income based on the time they put into their education. Another individual might have gone bankrupt, but that person comes from wealth. While they temporarily have no income, they still have the support of the upper class they were raised in. So taking other variables like your education, environment, or connections into consideration, these markers are a good indicator for which demographic you lie. Let's start with the poor. They account for about 20% of the population in America and hold less than 1% of the total wealth. For an individual to be considered poor, they should have a net worth of between $12,000 to $43,000. Poor people usually have unstable housing, lack access to healthcare, are in heavy debt. They have difficulty paying for basic expenses, have limited or no access to higher education. They are disproportionately incarcerated compared to other classes and are accustomed to sharing resources. Poor people are mostly treated like burdens to society and expendable. The next demographic is the working class. These account for about 40% of the population and hold less than 3% of the total wealth. Their net worth is $43,750 or more. They work manual labor jobs, usually for the upper middle class. Debt is a regular concern for them, and sometimes they have access to higher education, with student loans being an issue. Working class people have limited savings and usually survive from paycheck to paycheck. They are also called the working poor. The next group up the ladder is the middle class. These are divided into three groups, being lower middle class, and upper middle class. They account for about 20% of the population and 8% of the total wealth. Lower middle class have a net worth of $61,260 or higher. The middle class with a $145,200 net worth or higher. The upper middle class with a net worth of $269,100 or higher. People in this demographic have stable housing and employment. They are usually highly educated. Their jobs have great benefits and their debt is from student loans and mortgages. Next are the upper class. These have a net worth not less than $805,400. They account for 19% of the population and 49% of the total wealth. People who are part of this demographic usually own their own homes, have stock market investments, and considerable inheritances. Upper class people have elite education and are not bothered by students' debt. They can comfortably retire early and have easy access to legal aid. Last on the list are the rich. These are also known as the 1% because, well, they make up only 1% of the population. They have the least number of people of all the demographics, but they have 40% of the total wealth. You can recognize them because they own the largest homes. When they inherit big. They usually go to elite schools, both grade school and university level. They have a wide range of influential social connections and treated as leaders because they hold positions of power and esteem. For the upper class, full-time work is usually optional. To be part of this demographic, you must have at least a net worth of $4.4 million. So where do you think you are on the list? Remember, these are estimates. It might be different for every case and situation. However, if you're unsatisfied with your current demographic, you can move up in the world. You can start by developing good financial habits, acquiring marketable skills, and increase income whenever possible. Remember to save the difference. Money doesn't stick around if you have poor financial management, no matter how much you earn. And if you're young, time is on your side to build your income and savings. Practice patience and persistence. Tell me what you think below of the list. Do you think it is realistic? I would like to hear your thoughts. Remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. This is Luna Sol for Techie and Money. I'll see you in the next video.